up, we get an update on the current situation following the volcano eruption of Mount Sinabung in Indonesia. We learn a few tips from experts on how to categorize household items for year-end cleaning. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Wendy Chen. Thank you for joining us. First up in Indonesia, following the eruption of Mount Sinabung in North Sumatra, those living at the foot of the volcano have been forced to flee their homes and find shelter in a nearby refugee camp. However, the lack of sanitation and clean drinking water have become serious problems that need immediate answers.
The eruption of Mount Sinabung in Indonesia's northern Sumatra caused massive agricultural losses for nearby farmers. Approximately 30,000 hectares of farmlands were destroyed, worth about $80 million.
Saat ini saya sedang berada di desa
Right now, I am standing in Simacan village here in North Sumatra, which serves as the government seat of Karo County. Although most of this area has been declared a no-go zone, farmers can still be seen trying to recover what crops they can.
Simacan village lies around 2 kilometers from the base of the volcano and is considered to be in the danger zone of the still smoking volcano. Nevertheless, many residents have returned to see if any crops can be salvaged.
The extent of the volcano's damage was large. All these coffee trees are covered in ash, so it's impossible to see which beans are ready to be picked. The coffee from Karo is one of the world's best coffees, but it's all ruined now.
In this small refugee center, there are only 3 toilets to serve the 1,000 refugees staying here, making sanitation a serious concern.
Usually, we just wash everything in the river. If we need to use a public washroom, we have to drive there. When we have money, we will go to the car wash to wash. Without money, we just wash in the river.
Drinking water has become a big problem. Sometimes there is water and sometimes there is not. And with 1,000 people using the same bathrooms, things have gotten very dirty.
Luckily, an emergency response team has helped the situation by building 11 more bathrooms and a water purifier. In addition, the team has also begun educating the refugees on how to maintain proper sanitation, both for the sake of their health and the general environment of the shelter.
In Taiwan on January 28th, Tzuji's disaster relief team in the Philippines arrived in Hualien to share their mid to long-term plans for those affected by Typhoon Haiyan, the Bohol earthquake and the Zamboanga unrest. The event was also attended by Ormoc City's mayor and his wife, who seized the opportunity to express their gratitude to the Buddhist NGO.
Personally handing over a certificate of appreciation to Master Zheng Yan, today Ormoc City Mayor and his wife arrived in Hualien to express their thanks to global Tzu Chi volunteers for their support following Typhoon Haiyan.
Master Zheng Yan, thank you so much. You give us hope and the family victims of Yolanda in Ormoc City and the city of Tacloban. We will have to share also what you have done to our city. In the future, we can share, especially the help that you have given us is very enormous to our city, and we hope that we will not forget everything you have done for us. Thank you so much.
On November 8, 2013, Typhoon Haiyan swept through the central Philippines. Following the disaster, Tzu Chi volunteers arrived in Ormoc, Leyte Province to help, and their efforts were strongly supported by the local government.
踏上了这一块土地，就已经看到了，市长与夫人呢都很关心，也是感恩你们的协助呢，让他们开始展开啦，要义诊，还有去关怀当地，都能很顺利的。这就是我要向市长还有夫人你们的感恩。更感恩呢，就是他们要到独鹿湾的这个工程车。市长也是很支持，这种工程车也派了这么多到那里呢，让他们工作顺利。所以我还是呢要说向你们致感谢意。
In early January, a volunteer training seminar and a year-end blessing ceremony were held in Ormoc. Local residents' determination to attend the events deeply touched the hearts of volunteers.
When we held the training seminar, we only expected to recruit some 1,000 volunteers, but more than 7,000 people showed up. Although it was raining, more than 1,500 people still attended the year-end blessing ceremony. None of them were discouraged by the rain. They all came to express their thanks to Master Zheng Yan and Tzu Ji.
Thanks to volunteers' effort, Tacloban City has slowly returned to normal, with the local economy bouncing back.
Tzu Ji volunteers arrived in Tacloban and provided us with tremendous help. A week after the disaster, I saw many people cleaning up the streets. Our economy is growing and slowly returning to normal. That's why we need to thank all the Tzu Ji volunteers.
With the first stage of relief work in the Philippines completed, Tzu Ji volunteers promise to now provide mid- and long-term assistance to those devastated by Typhoon Haiyan, the Bohol earthquake, and the unrest in Zamboanga. Whether it is prefabricated classrooms or makeshift homes, the Tzu Ji Foundation will build these buildings with residents' needs in mind.
Tacloban was once regarded as one of the most highly developed and urbanized cities in Leyte province of the Philippines. Today, the city has been reduced to a wasteland after Typhoon Haiyan, as disaster survivors struggle to rebuild their homes and lives after the calamity. What are their options for the future? Let's take a look.
A symbol of peace, valor, and unity, the national flag of the Philippines is wrapped around a star of hope. It stands proud amid the rubble of devastation, reminding residents that they can overcome tragedy and rise again. The San Juanico Bridge is the longest bridge in the Philippines, connecting the islands of Samar and Leyte. Prior to the 1950s, Tacloban was just a small town in Leyte province. However, since 2008, it has been one of the fastest growing cities in the country.
Before the storm, we were even actually targeting about 900 million pesos for a total income. So we were fast growing, fast moving.
Coca-Cola is one of the biggest foreign investors in Tacloban, creating thousands of jobs locally. Now that the plant has resumed operations, workers are returning to their jobs after a 2-month period.
I've lost my home. I just want to had a lot of money to buy anything.
Commerce, industry, and agriculture are the main economic lifelines of the city. However, for the older generation of Tacloban, nothing delights them more than recollecting World War II, when under the command of General Douglas MacArthur, 170,000 troops successfully landed in Leyte to bring Japanese occupation of the island to an end.
He promised when he left the Philippines, I shall return. On October 20 and 1 o'clock in the afternoon, he declared, I have returned. Just a beautiful experience for us all.
The site of General MacArthur's historic landing is one of the most popular attractions in Tacloban. However, this beautiful coastal city, now threatened by climate change, has become one of the country's more dangerous areas. Climatologists have observed a pattern of extreme weather conditions in the Philippines.
When it rains, it really gives a heavy rain pour. Then when it is summertime, it really gives extreme high temperature in terms of
Apart from irregular weather patterns, there have also been abnormal patterns of typhoon frequency.
Number of the frequency of typhoon visiting the unit has been lessened, but the degree of typhoon, the level of typhoon has been a bit increased, like what we have this kind of Yolanda.
After this storm, it's definitely a wake-up call that people now realize that climate change is real and it must be addressed.
In his book, The Future, 6 Drivers of Global Change, former Vice President of the United States, Al Gore, points out that the number of people displaced by climate change and natural disasters could climb to 200 million by the end of the century. What's more alarming is that 2/3 of the world's population is concentrated in coastal areas, and that number continues to grow exponentially, especially in developing nations.
In northern part of Tacloban City, we will be intensifying the mangrove rehabilitation in that particular area.
Regardless of the various plans to rebuild the city, what remains certain going forward is that disaster prevention will be one of the first goals to tackle.
We had gone through so much, we can go through another survival test.
In Taiwan, after Typhoon Ophelia wiped out Hualien's Tongmen village and buried 36 residents in 1990, the village became the first in the nation to relocate due to its proximity to landslide danger zones. Since then, Tongmen villagers have become environmentally conscious of their surroundings and today have even enacted a water and soil conservation campaign to protect the land they call home.
Clearing away fallen reserve seed trees blocking the roadway, a team from a local forest district office is stopped on their way down Mukumuji's mountain by Hualien's Tongmen residents.
It's more dangerous to remove the roots with the tree. We hope in the future, no matter it's private or public sectors, if they enter our land, they should contact our office first.
Under the forest protection movement, citizens submitted an action requiring dual approval for any construction in mountain areas. Organizations need not only government approval, but tribal approval as well.
If they make a ditch or whatnot and change the flow of the water, then the area can easily lose soil. This then will cause the upstream area to collapse and disrupt vegetation.
这个是红块，好几颗呢哈。 1、2、3、4、5颗。
Before receiving an answer from the Forest Bureau, the logs continue to be in Tongmen residents' strict care.
Why are the voices of the village so insistent? Because we are afraid of the same destruction happening again.
The destruction the village head refers to has cast a long dark shadow on the entire village. In 1990, Typhoon Ophelia struck Taiwan. In mere seconds, a deadly landslide collapsed Tongmen village and took away 36 lives.
In just 1 hour, precipitation reached 1,200 millimeters. The houses in this area were all swept into the river. Yu Guoliang was my classmate. We went to elementary school together. This is painful to see. We are really suffering here.
Due to previous logging practices, the mountain's soil and foundation were loosened. But it took damage from Typhoon Ophelia for residents to realize the error of their ways.
Their determination is strong. They have banded together to protect the areas in and around their village.
Receiving a direct lesson about water and soil conservation, all Tongmen residents now keep an eye on forest activities to prevent such tragedies from happening again.
We have learned our lesson the hard way. This then belongs to our future generations, so we need to protect it in the meantime.
What was once a typhoon danger zone is now a studio featuring products made by local industries. Wiser from it all, Tongmen residents now live in harmony with Mother Nature. However, other tribal villages have yet to open their eyes.
Their village is at the base of the mountain, and above them, fruit and vegetables are grown. Thinking about it, I'm afraid for them.
If we do not learn from our past mistakes, but continue on depleting our natural resources, when tragedies strike, who can we blame except ourselves?
In the mountainous villages of Guizhou province in China are many inspiring stories of hardworking farmers who have successfully escaped poverty. One such person is Li Zhenlong from Gaolan village. Here is his story.
Supported with a few wooden planks, this dilapidated thatched cottage was once where Li Zhenrong and his family of 8 lived.
在上面睡的，在上面睡觉的，然后爬梯子上。对对对，这个是床铺。哇，以前睡这边应该很苦哈。对啊。对，风吹的时候会吹进来。
Inside the cottage is an old stone mill which Li Tianli had used since young to grind food to eat. Those difficult days did not perturb her. Rather, it was not having her parents around during her childhood that made her feel alone.
别人爸爸妈妈都在身边。
Other people had their parents by their side. Sometimes I'd hear them call out to their mom and dad, while I could only reminisce about my own parents.
Situated 1,100 meters above sea level, job opportunities are scarce here in the mountains. To support his family, Li Zhenrong had no choice but to leave home and find a job working in the fields in Guangxi.
We can't grow crops such as wheat or rap plant here. We go out into the cities and learn some skills and hopefully try growing some crops ourselves.
A barn filled with crops, Li's farming skills as well as his patience and perseverance yielded good harvests. Each year, Li harvests 2,700 kilograms of corn, several times more than his fellow villagers.
收成大概比你们多多少？一年比我们多1-2千。村里面多少人来找他学？很多人呢。
The jacket on Li is torn beyond repair, yet he is unwilling to throw it away. In his fellow villagers' eyes, Li's frugality and industry are his virtues.
He is the eldest, so he works hard to support his family. He supported his 2 younger brothers through school, and he also managed to put his daughter through college. I have a heavy load to carry, so I have no time to rest. My daughter is in college now, so I'm happy about that.
This beautiful and sturdy home is the result of Li's some 20 years of hard work. Now, with his 2 younger brothers living in the Tsuji village and his daughter in college, the weight on Li's shoulders has been lifted. Upon entering the Li home, one can see many portraits hanging on the wall. They are all the works of Tian Li, who is currently studying design in Guiyang. As his daughter shows us her works of art, Li Zhenrong couldn't be prouder of his little girl.
爸爸一直都很努力，把我们。
My father has worked very hard to raise me, so I also work hard at my studies. If I go find a part-time job like the others, perhaps my life would be the same and there would not be any change. And then my father would still have to work very hard to support us.
还是一样的辛苦。
Besides the year-end cleanup every family carries out before the Lunar New Year, some housewives will also take the opportunity to sort household items into categories, giving their house a fresh look for the year ahead. Here are some tricks on how to better manage your living room and bedroom. Clothes chucked everywhere and cupboards in a mess. This is probably a familiar scene for many at home. Experts suggest the first step to a good storage system is to fold up these clothes.
This folding board will help us fold clothes to the exact same size. Even children can help their mom to quickly fold all the clothes.
Baskets could be used to divide clothes into categories, while smaller items could be sorted in a different way.
There are probably some ice cube trays which we don't use daily, so we can use it to store these small items.
Necklaces, earrings and rings could be put into different divisions of the ice cube maker, next to the living room for another makeover.
If we spread this all over the place, it wouldn't be so easy to take things out. But if we put them in category, it would be clear where things are placed.
The corner of this living room looked like this before the cleanup, with toys, bags, clothing and other items stacked everywhere. Now there's even an area set aside to store food items.
We put all the food together on this metal frame which we set up, and there are a few columns of spaces for storage.
Children's toys are placed inside the drawers of a cabinet, allowing more space in the living room.
When using these items, the children will recognize their area as space, and this will help them get into the habit of putting their belongings all in one place. Once items have been categorized, you can then think about whether they belong in this area or not, and go from there to further put them into boxes.
We chucked many things away. It felt great.
The teachers suggest functional items that haven't been used for over 2 years could be donated to those in need. This not only helps clear more space at home, but also gives these items a second lease of life. Next, we follow up on the ways to categorize household items in children's room and bathroom. Let's take a look. Inside this children's room, toys, books, and household items are found everywhere. In the corner, there's even a large jar filled with pickled vegetables.
We can use a plastic sheet to prevent dust and block it away nicely.
First, remove the jars with pickled food and store them under an open cupboard. Next, pack the children's clothing for different seasons in a drawer cabinet.
The one advantage of storing clothes in a sealed bag is that you can save space because the air is squeezed out.
Sticking tags on the front helps the user to later identify the different categories, and electric wires can also be sorted accordingly.
I have also used sealed bags to pack away the electrical wires for chargers.
This housework management consultant says it only takes a little bit of white vinegar to clean stained walls and floors.
After diluting it, we can spray it on a cleaning tool and brush the wall directly.
There is no extra strength required when wiping the surface up and down and left to right. For dirty pipes, a little acidic detergent will do the trick.
I'm pressing my thumb on the areas that need cleaning. We don't need to use any more strength than that.
Finally, wiping the surface with a wet cloth before letting it dry will return it to its original cleanliness. As for bathroom items, a layered metal frame can help keep things in order. As you can see, household chores are easy when using the right techniques and tools. Do you know why mustard greens are a popular dish during the Chinese New Year? In our next report, we learn more about the benefits of mustard greens and tips for preparing it for the Chinese New Year.
During Chinese New Year, many people tend to overeat, which may lead to digestive problems. To avoid getting sick, one can consider adding a bit of mustard greens to your meal, a vegetable that is in season during the Lunar New Year.
Mustard greens have a lot of fiber that can help with our digestion. For those who have a hard time with bowel movements, mustard greens can definitely help. In China, there's a saying that mustard greens are the remedy of all disease. When a person feels that he or she is getting a cold, they can eat mustard greens to lessen the symptoms.
In Chinese culture, mustard greens represent long life. The vegetable can be cooked by simply stir-frying it with ingredients such as mushrooms and carrots. Another good way to prepare the dish is to stew the vegetable.
Normally, when we stir-fry mustard greens, it will have a bitter taste. If we stew mustard greens, however, it will bring out the sweetness and take away the bitterness. The longer you stew the vegetable, the better it tastes.
Still thinking on what to make for the Chinese New Year? By putting mustard greens in a steamer in just 10 minutes, a healthy and delicious Chinese New Year dish is ready to serve.
We stay in Taiwan at the end of today's show and join students from the Tainan DaAi Kindergarten who made a New Year feast with recyclables and visited city volunteers to wish them a happy Chinese New Year. We'll leave you with these images. Have a safe journey home and happy Chinese New Year. Thank you for tuning in. Goodbye.